All right, it says we're live, so I will take its word for it, and hopefully it's telling me the truth. But good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, July 17th of 2021. I'm excited for another family education and support group here with y'all. I do have a guest today that's actually here already. I just had to go do a few things right before we start. His name is Julian, which I will tell you why I chose to pick this individual for this week. It's Julian's an individual who's going to share his experience, strength, and hope as it relates to his recovery and the transformation he's made as a human being from going to where he was in life to where he is in life. But Julian has he already is pretty much a father of three children. You know, his significant other had children, which Julian's been doing a wonderful job for the past 3 years, like taking that parental father figure role. But Julian is coming up here in the next month, is going to be having his first son. And the reason I wanted to bring him on this show was because there's something called multi-generational patterns. And Julian is able to successfully, as of this moment, break multi-generational patterns. And it's so much beauty and honor in that, because that's something that's available and accessible to all in the recovery process. Recovery isn't just about getting off drugs and alcohol or your loved one getting off drugs and alcohol. Recovery is about breaking cycles, breaking patterns that have been there for a long time. So I think Julian just popped back in here. Julian, what's up, bro? You're live with the crew. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, Julian, what I was saying, the reason why I wanted to bring you on board, outside of you sharing your experience, strength, hope, talking about your journey of recovery, talking about, your upbringing, family dynamics, the lifestyle you chose at some point, the addictions you went through, going through treatment, addiction, recovery, and repeating that cycle a few times. But also because, I when you weren't here, I was talking about how you, for the past 3 years, have taken on a parental role for three children of your significant other, which you consider your family as well. But also in this upcoming month, you're going to be a father to your first son, And the reason why that's beautiful is because what's available and accessible to all human beings is that we are able to break multi-generational patterns and create new versions of reality, right? So you're able to take your gift of recovery and sobriety and now all of a sudden break patterns that may have been inside your world for many, many, many years and inside the world of those for many years. And that's beautiful. So good morning, everyone. There's lots of what's up and hellos, and you even got some from Russ. Remember Russ that came to Buckeye OCRS a few years ago? He's saying what's up to you. So Julian, without further ado, I guess, let's give an introduction of yourself. Who are you? And then also asking some questions.
My name is Julian Prim, and I am a laboratory tech for Buckeye Recovery Network. I'm also a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I say that not to flaunt it, but just to let everybody know that I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about recovery. And I mean, it's been a journey. It's been a wild ride.
Man. It's been a wild ride. I could safely say that I saw you there from the beginning of the journey, and who you are in this moment with that big smile on your face, just looking full of life and vitality, even though you work 7 days a week at multiple jobs and have multiple children that you're helping take care of and doing such a wonderful job with that. And you're about to be a father. That smile is full of energy and vitality, and that's because recovery is alive and well through you, my man. So let's take people back. Let's rewind back. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing, family dynamics, kind of the world you came into, mom, dads, that kind of stuff, just so people get an idea of where it started.
Yeah, so around the age of 3, my dad and my mom separated. I had really bad ADHD as a kid, so I was heavily medicated.
We lost your audio real quick.
Is it on again?
Yeah.
Okay. So from the time I was probably about 5 years old, I was on, albuterol, ventilator, and like nebulizers and ADHD medicine. And I just remember feeling really different than every other kid. I was always getting in trouble. You know what I mean? I was always in timeout, or the kid that was writing, "I will not spit on the floor" 1,000 times on a piece of paper, if you guys remember that as kids. And getting like suspended every other day from kindergarten and first grade. My mom can attest to that. And, my mom would just, she was she was sweet to a fault, you know. She kind of co-signed a lot of that behavior, and she's like, "It's okay, honey, you just have ADHD," or "It's okay, honey, this, that, and the other." And growing up with that feeling of never really feeling a part of, even in my own family dynamics, because like growing up in a predominantly white family, like you don't, I didn't look like them, so I couldn't understand, was I different? And I used to, when I was young, I used to think when my mom said my dad was Indian, like Native American, I used to be like, oh, he shoots bow and arrows, and like these wild fantasies you have as a kid. So I really never had an identity, So for me, my friends became my identity, my social network became my identity, and I did anything and everything to fit in with that, so I didn't feel apart from.
Yeah, when did that start? So I know you said the divorce happened in around 3. So you primarily live with your mom?
Yeah, they were never married, but they separated, and
Yeah.
my mom took full custody. I don't know if my dad really fought her on it or not. I mean, I know there was some stuff going on behind the scenes that, I mean, as a child, you're not aware of.
Growing up
Um,
as a child, did you have a relationship with your pops?
no, not
No.
until
Okay.
later.
Yeah. So, and then you said, all right, then your friends became your family, and that kind of stuff. And let us know, because I know a little bit about your history, but when did you start kind of going out and about into hanging out with the friends, going to the streets, creating a little identity for yourself, deteriorating from the regular path that most kids go on?
So, I mean, around 12, that's when I started
Okay.
getting into drugs and alcohol. I mean, I had the first taste of alcohol about 3 or 4, and then, a sip of it at 6 out of my mom's soda cans that she used to hide by the pool. But really, at 12 years old, when I started smoking marijuana and drinking, a lot of my friends were taggers, and, shortly after that, they became, from the neighborhood, which, I grew up in Buena Park, and a lot of the friends I grew up with were originally, taggers, and they're gang members now. And if they're not gang members, then they're drug dealers or they're druggies, or some of them have good lives. Unfortunately, I chose to go the opposite route. Of most people. I liked the chaos. I loved being enveloped in something that was dangerous and exciting, and it kind of fed that ADHD side of me, I guess you could say, or fed that side of me that was used to the chaotic life of like being in a single parent household. Kind of a latchkey kid. Whatever I want to do, I could do, and there was no consequences. And I think that's what was the dramatic factor for me. Is my mom she tried her best, bless her heart, but there wasn't really any consequences. She would put me on restriction, I'd sneak out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she never really enforced that. And she was an alcoholic herself until I was 15.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to tell a kid not to do those things when you're doing those things as an adult. So
Oh, for
that's
sure.
it was about 12 years old I started doing that.
So there's alcoholism in your family growing up too. Other addiction in your family anywhere?
Oh yeah, my
Yeah.
family's full of drug addicts and alcoholics. I
Yeah.
mean, all of us have an ism, pretty much, except maybe uh, my uncles, two of my uncles. One of my other uncles he was really, really bad on methamphetamine. I mean, he stole my stuff as a kid. Like that's
Yeah.
how bad he was.
So when did your problem? So hanging out with the friends, you got an identity. I know it for someone that you probably felt some love in the streets. You probably felt some, brotherhood in the streets. You felt a part of. When did that stop working? So when did you start realizing like, hey, my addiction's getting to the point that it's not working? Was there troubles with the law you got into? Did you stop giving up on your own dreams, your own goals? Did you stop hanging out with family? Kind of tell me about the impact that lifestyle had on your life.
I mean, it's a deadly facade. Like what it did for me is like I'm wearing these masks and hanging out with these people so that I can feel safe in unsafe locations. You know what I mean? Like I'm kicking it on the street with my homies from the neighborhood, knowing that anytime someone could drive by and shoot at us, but I'm comfortable there, just being apart with them, right? And then I would go and sell drugs or do whatever I was doing, and it just got to the point where like I blinked and I woke up and looked in the mirror and didn't realize who I was staring at anymore. Like I had no idea who I was anymore. Like I lost. It wasn't that I guess you could say for me at the time, not that I lost my identity, but for me I did. To everyone else it looked like I was who I was, but for me it was like this is not who I'm meant to be. Strung out at like probably about 19. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? As when I started getting into heavier drugs. I mean, I had been using coke for a few years at that time, but really it started with a poor relationship with a girl into graduating high school and not having any outsource of like anything to do because I played football and I had to work out. So I had to be on the straight and narrow for practice, and I had to do routine. I didn't have a routine anymore. It's kind of like when you relapse in the program. It's like you lose your routine, you lose the things that help get you there. And that's what happened to me as a kid. My mom was sick. My mom was bedridden 20 hours a day. And I pretty much was the man of the house trying to take care of her and myself and feeling like I was failing every day. And for me, it was like when I looked around and all the people I was hanging out with were like, had, were going in and out of jail and were comfortable with that lifestyle. And I realized like, this isn't who I'm meant to be. Like, is when I had that awakening. I think it was really, I'll talk about this one night. I got drunk and I woke up blacked out in front of my house, and my mom tried to get me in the house. I'm literally stumbling over this, and I barely remember it. She had to put it together for me. I pushed her out of the way to go grab a warm 40-ounce out of the trash area, and guzzled it, and then almost fell over her on her trying to go up the stairs. And that was like kind of like for me, like it broke my heart because my mom deserved better, and I know I could be better, and I didn't get sober even after that event for almost another year.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that from that event on for that year, it got a lot worse, right?
Yeah.
And in the different various drugs, I know the illicit street drugs and all that kind of stuff, but any troubles with the law, did that ever help you stop using, or that was kind of just a part of regular consequence?
My first offense was in December of like 2011, 2010. I got caught with possession of a deadly weapon. I tried to knock some dude out and take his fixie to go cop for dope. And I remember sitting in jail and just thinking like, well, I guess this is it. Like, this is where I'm going to be, and like you do your foxhole prayer. And I was like, all right, I'm looking at a year and a strike. And this is my first offense. First time I've been in trouble as an adult, and I just remember the judge asked me a question, and she was like, what's your problem? And I just told her the truth. I'm a drug addict and alcoholic, and this is what I do to survive. And she's like, well, I'm going to give you leniency. She let me out, and that's really where I realized that I had a problem. Is I got out, I had 8 days sober essentially, and I went right back to doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
Not even missed a beat. Got off the bus, dropped off at my dope dealer's house, and went right back into that environment. And that's when I was like, I can't stop.
Yeah, man. And it's I've noticed that legal consequences rarely change anything, and it's more of an internal process that leads to the change. So what about treatment? When did you start saying, okay, I can't stop? I know you came around once before this time that stuck, or at least that I know of. I'm sure there's probably other times, but when did you start saying, hey, I have to do something different about my life? And tell us about that initial recovery attempts.
So really, it started, it's kind of crazy how everything comes full circle. So I was living in my buddy's broke down car in his carport, and he was telling me about Charlie Street. And I'm like, bro, I'm not even an alcoholic. Like, I just do drugs, like it's not even really the drinking, And he was like, okay, like, I think he knew more about me than I knew about myself then. And I just kept getting loaded. I got an abscess in my leg that almost went sepsis. That had stopped me. And I was living under a car in another carport. I was like laying underneath this truck every night. And I remember one night I got sick of myself, and I got on my knees, and I remember it was raining, and I was praying, and I was like, dude, either kill me now or get me sober. And a week later, my sister called me, and she was like, I heard you need help, and she helped me start the very first time I got sober, which was March 13th, 2013. And, I went into sober living at the Victory House, and, I did okay in the structured environment. But for me, that idea that somehow, some way I could use or drink like a normal person, like, pervaded my mind. And I decided to move out of a free spot to live to go back to my old neighborhood and end up doing the same thing and losing everything that took me a year to build. And then, obviously this last time, I went to my mom's, and I was living in Hemet, and I tried marijuana maintenance, which a lot of us think will work. And it's not even the drugs or the substances, it's my thinking. My logic is skewed. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be any unhealthy habit. And
can you share real quick, because I know what marijuana maintenance is? Can you tell any of the family members watching right now, just because they might hear that phrase or they might hear about that? So just let them know what marijuana maintenance is.
Yeah, it's where you try to, you try to smoke marijuana and say that it has medicinal uses. You're using it for your stress, or you're using it for your anxiety or depression. But the reality is, like, you're using a substance that it still alters your brain chemistry. It still alters your mind,
And this
And
is instead of the drug of choice, right? So you're not
yeah,
using your drug of choice as meth, opiates, alcohol, but you're using marijuana instead.
yeah. And a
Yeah,
lot of people will tell you, oh, it's working for me, but it only works to a certain point and stops working. I mean, I was smoking and getting insomnia, and that's not normal. And then I would have to drink to go to sleep, and that's when everything kept kicking on for me. As I would drink to go to sleep, not want to be drunk, and then that whole hamster wheel of addiction would start all over again.
absolutely, man. So when you came to us, so just tell everybody what your sobriety date is.
So my sobriety date is December 8th, 2015.
December 8th, 2015. Man, congrats. So this December 8th is going to be 6 years?
Yeah.
Holy shit, man. It's cool. That's a few years longer than I thought, but that's really cool. Well, the good news is I've been around that whole time to see you grow. So you came into us. I mean, you didn't have this type of smile. I remember you had a shaved head and you wore a white tank top and you wore Dickies shorts and you wore flip-flop slides, or some days you just came with a robe to treatment. Yeah. I do remember those days. You were there as if you were just existing in a completely different world than that. But you showed up, right?
Yeah.
And what was your psychological, emotional state when you came to treatment at that point? Like, why did you seek treatment again at that point? What was going on in your life?
Oh man, I had never really fully given treatment a chance. Like, I had done sober living, but never been to treatment. And I think really I had no more options. Richard, the interventionist that called my mom, he got my mom to cut me off. And I think honestly, that was the thing that saved my life, because my mom will enable me and I'll be codependent upon that enablement to the point of death. If I still had her in my corner, I would have still been doing what I was doing.
And can you say what cut? Because there's a lot of family members here watching that I've given very similar suggestions to. When you say cut me off, can you explain in your world what that meant?
Yeah, just no longer taking my phone calls and entertaining the thought of what I was doing. Like, she was like, no, if you're not going to get sober, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to have a relationship with you. Like, I love you. I will always be your mother, but I'm no longer going to watch you kill yourself and sit by and hold your hand while you do it. And that's literally what she was doing. I mean, I would sit with a fully loaded pipe in my hand, look at her and convince her it wasn't mine. I mean, that's how crazy it is. Like, I would be drinking and telling her it's not a problem, but it's 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
That's the craziness about it. And I think, a lot of us as children, or as parents, now that I'm a parent, I know that it would be difficult to look at my kids and have to have that conversation, but I would do the same thing. And I suggest Al-Anon greatly, because I think what principles Richard helped my mom figure out was some Al-Anon techniques. And definitely that worked for me, is no longer co-signing the behavior. They're like no longer justifying my use by saying, oh, he's had a hard life or he's done X, Y, and Z. She was just like, dude, you're a grown man. Like, I'm your mother and I can no longer sit by and watch this anymore.
Did you initially, when someone sets a boundary like that, that's what that is a firm boundary, and it's rooted in love and it's rooted in self-care for the individual, for both parties. And it's like, it allows for the space for growth to happen and transformation to happen. But initially when she said, hey, no longer you can do this, or I'm not going to watch you, were there any feelings of resentment, anger, animosity, like, were you pissed off at mom, pissed off at Richard, pissed off at like the fact that it got here, or did you accept it?
Yeah, I was pissed off, of course. Yeah. I mean, I was like a little bit mad at Richard, because I'm like, dude, like, this is my mom. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's the only person I have left. But I think he knew more about, it than I obviously did. And his approach may have been a little abstract, but it's definitely what I needed. Because if someone would have came to me a little bit more like nice and sugarcoated it, I'd have been like, whatever, I don't care, But the way he came about it was like, you're gonna die. Like, why don't you try to get 1 day sober and then call me? And he hung up, and I was like, what the hell? Like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then not being able to call my mom and ask for resources like a blanket or like, can I go get some of my clothes? Her just being like, no, you can't. You need to figure it out yourself, Yeah,
the reason I ask you that is because there's some family members here that have set boundaries and their kids get upset or pissed off, and then they don't know if the kid's going to be okay or not. It's like, at some level, you just have to accept the fact that that's what you got to do, and it works. The proof is in the Julians of the world and the other people that have been able to thrive after boundaries have been set. So okay, so you got to OCRS at the time, which is Buckeye Recovery Network, and you got into work. I do remember. How long were you in the program for?
Like, total 85 days, I believe.
Okay, and then you started residing, managing, co-managing sober living, right? That's kind of what happened. But I do remember something significant happened to you after maybe a year of sobriety, which was really, it's not rare in our world, but you had to go do some consequences of your past, didn't you?
Yeah, I had to go back to jail.
Yeah, you had to go back. Can you tell everybody what it's like to go back to jail sober? Because that's a completely different experience. How long sober were you?
Oh, I took my year in jail.
Oh, I remember this, man.
So I didn't complete my community service for my prior charge in 2011. So I went to court and I just said, "Look, Your Honor, I'm here to pay pay off the wreckage of my past." And he's like, "Okay, do you have $2,100?" And I was like, "Nope." And he's like, "Okay, well, you're gonna do 15 days in jail." And I was like, "All right, here we go." And for me, the experience taught me a lot about myself. I had a lot more work to do, a lot, because when I got there, I saw a lot of people that I knew from the streets, and I realized that as easily as it is for us to relapse, it's as easy for me to be sucked back into that environment and thrive. Because as soon as I got there, I felt I felt different than them, but I almost felt like, oh, I can make this home. And I was like, oh no, I need to do more work. So as soon as I got out of jail, I did 5 days. They released me.
Yeah.
I got straight back into the book, straight into my amendses, and doing the amends process, and literally hit the ground running. And then 3 weeks after that is when Anthony passed, and I think those were all profound experiences that helped shape the dynamic of my recovery.
Yeah, that's can you tell people when Anthony passed, who Anthony was to you, and what that whole experience was like? Like, why was that such a profound moment for you? Because there's a lot of people that pass away in our world, that.
Yeah.
Why was that one so different for you?
For me, it was the first person that I literally felt like he was my brother. I had a lot of similarities to Anthony. We actually hung out in the same areas, and we're hanging out with some of the same people, and had probably crossed paths, but I was too loaded to remember. And we were just very similar in our trauma and our life experiences. And he became my brother in the program, man. I mean, we ran sober living together, and when I found out that he passed, it shaped my world drastically, because it made it even that more real that this is life or death. And to believe that it's not is to dilute yourself of the reality of it. He was my best friend. He was my confidant. He was actually the one that got me to stay, because there was a lot of times I didn't want to stay here. I was so angry and mad at myself and mad at God and mad at the world that I just didn't want to be sober. I didn't want to do this anymore. I was like, I'm a piece of shit loaded and I'm a piece of shit sober. And he was the one that's like, dude, we all got pain, bro. We all been through it. And he was the one that really got me to turn off my goggles, you have to have tattoos and go to prison for me to listen to you and respect what you have to say, and to listen to people's heart and what they shared in group and what they shared in meetings, and really be hyper focused on the individual's true self, as opposed to the masks that most of us pay attention to.
Yeah, man. So when we're talking about your story here, because in the description of this video I wrote, the practicing addict and alcoholic and the sober addict and alcoholic are two opposite ends of the human experience. So you've painted one human experience here, which was a child coming up with some type of dysfunction, a lot of alcoholism, addiction around him, with diagnosis like ADHD, using things like marijuana at the age of 12, progressing into the street life, tagging, some gang activity, going into methamphetamines, and then that whole world, and getting arrested, getting released, getting violent, losing a sense of self, losing a true north, doing things he never thought he'd do, going to treatment, falling right back into old ways after a year, and coming back around now, right? So now I know a few things about you. Tell people a little bit about who you are and what your life is like now. And I just want to be able to demonstrate that contrast of the difference of these two worlds that I'm talking about. So what are you up to these days? Just tell us about you, man, because it's very inspiring, Julian.
Yeah, it's been a journey. I believe that a destination is a place you want to go, and a journey is the things that occur on the way there. That's the real journey. And for me, this has all been my wildest imaginations. You know what I mean? I didn't think I'd live to see 30. I'm 31. You know what I mean? Like, I have three beautiful, beautiful kids that choose to call me dad. And really, when I look at the past me, like, I don't deserve that, right? But I have earned it now. And really, what it was for me is like something showed up in my life through the recovery process that helped put me on this trajectory. And I don't believe in coincidences. I believe everything happens for a reason. And I never thought I'd be working for the treatment center I went through. Like, I never thought I would be having my mentor interview me, on Zoom. I never thought I'd be working around people that I highly respect and admire. And my life is 1,000% different. I'm a member, of a great organization. I've got almost 6 years sober. I've done a lot of work on myself, especially my anger. I have a beautiful girlfriend, 3 beautiful kids, 1 beautiful baby boy on the way.
Tell us when the baby boy's on the way. I know it's very soon.
Oh, he's due any day. I mean, the due date's August 19th, but he'll probably be here sooner.
Can you share the name on this stream or no?
Yeah. Well, we haven't officially come up with the name. Okay. The name we're leaning towards is Atlas Gray.
Okay, Atlas. Yeah, that's what it was. I just didn't know if you could. It's I saw the picture on your social media with the hands like this underneath.
Yeah.
I mean, he's literally inside your significant other with his hands like this in the sonograph, and I was like, man, if that doesn't give you a Greek contemplation god, I don't know what you did. The name is right there. So, yeah, man, that's whatever name you come up with is going to be perfect. So it's not here nor there. But yeah, August. Tony just said August 19th is one of his daughter's, his first daughter's birthday. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But so August 19th. I mean, you've already been a father here for, is it 3 years now that you and Audrey have been together? So you've already experienced what it means to be a father and to show up for children on a daily basis for the past 3 years. What is that? Because here's the thing, man. You shared that you, growing up, as much as your mom is loving and caring, and I know she is actually, she struggled with her own alcoholism, right? And then you struggled with, your family. You said there was addiction everywhere. Like, you're bringing up a sober household here, right? You've broken a multi-generational pattern that has existed inside your lineage for a long time, and you've done that, dude. That's like the biggest gift that you can give to your children, and to give to yourself, to give to Audrey, to give to your children. Is that, like, what does that feel like, man? You broke a cycle.
I don't know, man. It's a strange feeling, because like I've always had like a weird family dynamic, and it's always been chaotic. And to finally have, like, yeah, the kids are crazy, but to have like a household where like it's full of love, these kids will never have to see me drunk or loaded if I choose not to, if I do the work, you know what I mean? And Audrey doesn't drink or, do anything. So it's like these kids get to grow up with 2 parents that are not doing that. Like, they don't got to worry about watching their mom be passed out on the couch or being invited to a party that are for the kids, but really it's for the adults to get plastered. Like, they never have to worry about seeing someone take bong rips in the backyard. Like, my kids get to have that freedom of that, They get to, they're going to church right now and they're learning about, God and stuff, and just to watch their faces when they come back and talk to them and get to have that experience. Like, these kids have innocence. Like, I lost that when I was young. By the time I was 4, I didn't have that anymore. And all my kids still have it. And that's like beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to know that like my household is like a clean and safe environment for them. And that I'm better equipped now, as long as I continue this path, that if one day they need guidance in anything, I have tools to be able to provide that.
Yeah, man, that's very inspiring, Julian. You and also you said you're the laboratory tech at Buckeye Recovery Network, which is kind of, we'll just call it support staff, right? You provide additional services to various members that come through the program, and they all love you and you love them and all that kind of stuff. But I know, when looking back, when it's all said and done, you don't want to say I was just a lab tech.
No.
Do you want to say house manager is where I started? I worked my way up to lab tech, and what's the next step for you in terms of professional development? What are you up to these days?
I'm almost done with school. I got 2 more courses left. I've actually started my second to last course. I just signed up yesterday for that, so I have that in my intern.
So what schooling are you talking about? Tell people what schooling we're talking about.
To be a drug and alcohol counselor.
To be a drug and alcohol counselor, huh? So if you go back and tell the 13, 14-year-old Julian that's got a can of spray paint in his hand and he's tagging up some street corner, that when you're 31 years old, you'll be getting your drug and alcohol counseling degree. What would that kid say to that comment?
He'd tell you you're out of your mind. He'd be like, nuts, man. I'm not doing that.
Well, that's the cool thing about recovery, man, is things that are out of our mind become reality, And I'm pumped, man. I'm really looking forward to you. I know you're going to be starting your practicum, which is your intern hours. So kind of like we have a couple counselors watching this, Jim, Tony, those guys that work with us. You'll be sitting inside their groups, watching how they conduct themselves, watching how they run groups, taking a little something from them, and then you hopefully using it, because there will be many other Julians that'll sit in chairs right around you, and you're going to have a chance to hear them out, listen to them, listen to what they're up to, and provide some feedback to them back, man. So it's such a wonderful thing, isn't it?
It's beautiful, man.
It's a beautiful thing, man. So question I have for you, and by the way, anybody on the side chat, I know you guys I'll go back and read some comments. There is this, there's this link that I just put there. It says StreamYard.com. If you click on that, you have the ability to come in and talk to myself and Julian, like with your camera on. So all you have to do is click on the link, and you can jump in and talk to Julian and myself. If you just want to write something on the side, feel free to write it, and I will go ahead and respond. But again, we're talking here about breaking multi-generational patterns of trauma, addiction, alcoholism. Julian's he's a father of 3 right now, and he's about to have his first son. So he is really excited about that. And so that's kind of what the theme of this thing was. But feel free to write whatever you guys want on the side. Julian, question for you is, if there's somebody like you struggling out there, and maybe he doesn't want to listen to you or she doesn't want to listen to you, but for whatever reason, there was a moment that they just heard something you had to say, what would you tell to someone that's currently struggling with addictions that may or may not help them? But what would you give them if you had the chance to give them some advice? What would you say to them?
Man, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and you want something different, then you'll do what we do. It's super simple. In the scheme of your life, a couple months to try and get yourself sober and work a program may seem like a hard task, but if you just devote your energy to that, you have a possibility of changing your life. If I could go back and look at myself as a younger version, I would have said, give yourself 1 year, just 1 year to try and get sober, right? And to work the program, go into IOP and, pick a program to work, and maybe your life will get better. Or you can sit in misery and keep doing what you're doing. Which one would you pick? Yeah. Do you want to keep?
Why would you, out of curiosity, why would you go with 1 year instead of like, hey, just give yourself 90 days? So like, what's wrong with saying give yourself 90 days versus a year? I know it is.
I mean, for me, the in 1 year and 365 days, right? Profound things happen for you that you have no idea. You can't even perceive it yet because you're still in that sick and tired state. If you give yourself 1 solid year of hard work, and it's really not even that hard, I mean, it is mentally, it's challenging, and physically you will go through a little bit of discomfort and pain, but on the outside of that, like what you have waiting for you, like I wish I could give you what I have. If I could take one of my years off of me and give it to someone struggling, I would, just to watch the light bloom on in their face, just to watch that light flicker and have them get it. Because, man, if I'd have known that this was a possibility, at 12 years old, I would have got sober. You know what I mean? Yeah. I would have never even started. I would have been like, oh, I want that. This is way better, bro. Like, I don't have to go to jail. I don't have to be hungry and homeless. I don't have to be sick. This is the option. I don't have to feel pain. You guys are going to give me tools on how to deal with my mental health and depression and anxiety, and I don't have to resort to drugs and alcohol. Like, yeah, dude, that's a way better alternative. So it's like this. You can drink poison and slowly die, or we can give you the antidote and you can have a beautiful life. Which one would you choose?
Sure, man. Well, really well said. I'm not even going to try to say anything on top of that because you said it better than I could. So I'm going to read some comments here. Feel free to keep writing, people. I'm just going to share some stuff with you that people are saying. So my mom wrote, wow, you're a miracle of sobriety. I'm so happy for you. Thanks for sharing and giving a lot of hope to people in recovery.
Thank you.
So yeah, it means a lot. We got Lynn here. So wrote beautiful story of an incredible transformation. And Julian, every time I talk, I dedicated to the possibility of human transformation, and it's because, like, here's the thing, man. So when you come into Buckeye, or someone like you comes into Buckeye, and you know who you are, right? You have an idea of who you are. Or how about this? You think you know who you are, right? You think you know who you are. But I see that person and I kind of know what they're capable of. Like, I know who they could be. So I'm so committed to that future version of them that they can't see, that's why we do what we do. And that's kind of what you're doing now, is of being a part of our program for so long and our team for so long, is like, these kids come in, guys, girls, broken, defeated, low self-esteem, haven't accomplished anything, feeling this small. But you see a version of them that has all of the things that they just hope and dream, wish that they can have one day. And we're committed to that, so that's how we treat them until that version shows up. Doesn't unfortunately show up for everyone at all times, but it's cool when it does. Let's see what we got here. We got Rusty. Russ, he said, I can remember having conversations with Julian and Julian being frustrated. I'm so stoked to see his growth. So, Russ hasn't seen you in at least 6 years probably. And that means a lot, that in this moment, just you on a computer screen right now, he can see growth. Debbie wrote, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's so inspiring. Beta, someone that you don't know and doesn't know your kids, told you to go kiss your kids for her. So that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's you showed so much love for your children that someone said go kiss them for her. She's not even from around here. That's the cool part. My Dia, which is one of ours, said, you're welcome, Julian. Thank you for all you do. She also wrote beautiful advice. Taylor gave you some hearts, which is kind of cool. Hey, Taylor, I missed you when you came to Buckeye on, I don't know what day it was, Wednesday or something like that. Casey told me you came in, but it was awesome to see you come in, and congratulations. Jeremy Tangero, the Chief. That's a nice picture he's got going on over there. He said, love you, brother. So we know him. We know him well. Tony Dupree, counselor, Buckeye Recovery Network. He wrote, you're going to make a great counselor. Tony is a great counselor. He's been with us. He was there when you were there.
Yeah.
Tony was there. So Tony's been there from the beginning of your journey too. And he's been doing this for a long time himself. Also a beautiful transformation story. Eddie, Eddie. Yeah. He gave you a little shout, sent you some love. Let's see what else we got here. I'm just going through these. Ed Munker said, you're the man, Julian. Parentheses, Jerry. Roxanne, one of my cousins, she wrote, congratulations, stay strong.
Thank you very much.
Moni wrote, congratulations, Julian. You're such a strong young man. My best wishes for you. Casey, Miss Hatley, True in the house. Julian, thank you for all you do for the people to find sobriety. Every time I hear your story, it impacts me in a different way. Love your friend. You want to know why stories impact us in a different way, by the way? Because, Julian, every time you share your story, you're not the same person that's sharing that same story. So as you progress and you evolve in life and you share the story, it comes out differently. It touches people differently. People hear it differently. If everybody says, oh, I've heard this before, I've seen this before, man, that means that they're not growing either. So Casey's growing, you're growing. This is awesome. Good stuff here. I'm proud. I'm like a proud parent right now, just going through this thing. Let's just see. There's a couple more down the bottom. Taylor just, okay, so maybe she's coming back in the spring. Yeah, Taylor, give us a heads up when you're coming, and we'll get you. By the way, I want to get you and your family on this too, Taylor. I think you guys will do a great job. I think you're back in Kentucky, so you're also a miracle. So it'd be great to have you here. And Eileen wrote, Julian, it is beautiful to know the possibilities of what lies at the end of the tunnel of sobriety, a life of much more peace, accomplishment, respect, purpose, and joy. Thanks for sharing. That's really, really well said.
Thank you.
So you see, Julian, you came here and all you had to do was for 40 minutes talk about yourself, your life, your truth, right?
Yeah.
You didn't. I know you pretty well. I know you didn't make any of that up, right? That was all 100% truth. It was your reality. August 19th is happening, whether you're ready for it or not. You have been here since December of 2015, whether you like it or not. I do know your mom. I do know you. I do know your significant other. I do see you at work every damn day. And yeah, man, let's just keep moving this thing on one day at a time. I look forward to you becoming a drug and alcohol counselor. running some groups, doing some individuals, helping some people out. And then maybe from there's another stepping stone for you, maybe
there will be.
Maybe one day you get some more education or something under your belt, and maybe one day you're sitting down as a clinician running a family education and support group on Saturdays for people, and I can watch you do this on a split screen and be your guest one day. So I look forward to those are the kind of things that are possible for us, right? I mean, shit, anything and everything's possible at this point. So thank you for your time. I know you work 7 days a week, so even though you're working somewhere else right now, you're spending some time to do this. And I know the people, by the way, that are watching you at your other job, they're going to be really happy to see that such a really well-rounded, cool human being is there with them on the weekends, and maybe that they you got some extra respect and love for those individuals are going to have for you, because you're an asset to have around. And love you, and I'll see you Monday. Okay. I'll probably be in my office with the door closed, but I'll hear you Monday.
Okay.
All right. Take care, dude. Everyone else. So I just want to wrap this up individually right here real quick, but thank you for all those kind words that you've had for Julian. There's a lot of Julians out there. I mean, Julian's special. I really do believe that Julian is he's a miracle. I saw him when he first came in, and he was always really soft-spoken. He always had a good smile, and he always there was something about him, his spirit, that was really sweet. But he was also a people pleaser, and he also wanted to please so many people around him. So I wasn't sure if one day, if he got around the wrong people, they were going to be able to pluck him away and take him away. But he stayed true. But the reason, like I said in the beginning, I wanted this talk to happen was because Julian's a man that all of the cards that were dealt to him at a young age, from the parent separation to the addiction in the family to his lifestyle choices to his untreated ADHD when he was self-medicating with marijuana and methamphetamines and all that kind of stuff, getting in trouble with the law. On all accounts, if you just take a look at that, right? If you just take one look at that, you'd say this person doesn't have the best shot to make it in life, right? However, he went against all odds. That's why I call him the underdog. And he proved society wrong. He proved everyone wrong. And today he's standing there like a man of integrity, something that we can all look into. Damn, like I inspire to be like that guy. I inspire to smile like that guy. I inspire to manage my emotions like that guy, show up like that guy. And that's all available in the recovery process. And multi-generational patterns could be broken in any family system as long as a person chooses recovery. So I look forward to seeing what happens in the rest of that man's life. And for everyone else, the takeaway from this, please remember that whatever cards that were given in life is what we were given in life, but we have the ability to play with them any way we wish, So we're not a victim of our circumstances. We can create our circumstances, and the same way that man was creating his. So I love and appreciate all of you guys. I will have some various guests coming here next week for you guys, and we'll go from there. So have a wonderful weekend, and see you soon. Bye-bye.